Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your Midday Market Report for Friday, January 20th, 2023. Just 11 days left in this glorious first month of the new year. Just 11 days left till Massachusetts launches. Yes, you'll be able to finally legally bet in Massachusetts. I mean, something we've been doing now for 40 years, or at least I have. So it is what it is. It's our time that we head to PA in the house, what we like to call the Philly special. Dan, good friend, colleague, holding answers that we all want to know. This number opened at 7 with a 47.5. I've seen 7.5s and 48, and people must know we are getting ready to launch this show. 5 Dimes right now as we speak is hanging a 9.5, and Chris has just moved their number to 8. So I think Dan might be holding the golden key to tell us Jalen's fine. He's out there whipping the ball around. There's no problem with the quarterback sneak. He's going to run for 100 yards, pass for 400, and quietly hoping the Cowboys come into town next Sunday, but that's for another show. So without further ado, let's bring him in, the one and only Mr. Dan Alexander.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's thinking about the Cowboys just quite yet. We have a little bit of a test to get through coming up this Saturday. And, man, I'm excited for it. I got my tickets ready to go. I'll be up there in Section 205 in my season tickets getting ready to rock. So, Jeffrey, we got a lot to get into between this. I'm shocked that we're seeing all the way up to 9.5 at 5 Dimes. I thought I was going to be the one breaking news that South Point finally moved to 8 after all week long. We've been seeing it sitting at 7.5. We're also seeing Bookmaker, which is a nice offshore indicator. They're hanging in 8. So some late money here on a Friday afternoon, right before we come on air, backing my Philadelphia Eagles. Let's hope that's some sharp money, Jeff, because there's a lot of public money out there all over this Giants team. So it seems like we got a square sharp divide coming up this week in the NFL divisional round.
You know, this is the one game I have opinions in all 3 games. This is the one I don't have an opinion on because I have mixed feelings. Last week, obviously, the Giants we thought was the right side. Our play on that game was the over. That cashes early in the fourth quarter. I don't see Eli Manning. I don't see some of the other guys, but it has a feeling of one of those Eli teams. And you know what sticks in my head the most is doing the shows with you all year and you clearly stating to me, you can run on this Eagles team and not enough teams take advantage of that.
They get caught in the NFL's dream, and that is high-flying shootouts, lots of passing yards. This Philadelphia Eagles team struggles against the run, and especially when you factor in a quarterback who is able to run the way that Daniel Jones does. I think that's why, as far as the spread, that's why I'm really shocked that we're seeing this number go to 8, going on a prominent offshore that takes big-time limit bets to a 9.5. That to me, that 5 Dimes move, doesn't that tell you they are loaded up on Eagles teasers? You know, they said, all right, enough of these Eagles teasers where people are getting them down to a 1.5. We're moving to 9. If we get middled, okay, we get middled. But that tells me that all 5 Dimes has been seeing this week is teasing the Philadelphia Eagles down. That's the only way that I would bet the Eagles in this one, because I actually have some numbers for you here from my friend Ralph Michaels over at Wager Talk. He crunched this whole divisional round because think a year ago, the 1 seeds both of them lost on the opening weekend after they came out of the bye. So this old bar talk of, oh, it's great to have the bye, you get extra rest, you get home field advantage. Well, with the new playoff format for the NFL, that got busted rather quickly. But when you go back to 2001, we don't have any instances here with double-digit favorites. Those teams are 8-0, straight up 7-1 against the spread. Highest spread we have this weekend is 9 currently. That 9.5 that's at that 5 dimes. That is the highest spread, but 9 we're looking at in this Kansas City Jacksonville game. But here's the one that surprised me. This one from 2006. Pick'em and single-digit home favorites. Home team off the divisional round, or in the divisional round coming off of a bye. The home team straight up, let's just win the game, Eagles, because they're 31-19. But how about this? Against the spread, Jeffrey, single-digit favorites who are a home favorite off of the bye here in the divisional round, 18-31-1 against the number. I almost fell out of my chair when Ralph Michaels dropped that one on Wager Talk today. That's 36.7% going back to 2006. So, I'm never going to advocate a blind play, but that tells me, judging by a pretty big sample size there, Jacksonville +9 might be a little bit of a live ticket there, and it would fall into the Giants as well, especially when this line continues to tick up.
It's funny because the Kansas City team, I expect them to win. Now, when they're at home laying anything over a touchdown, 8, 8.5, 9, they get out to the big lead. They play grab ass. The back door is wide open. And usually, they'll win easily and comfortably, but they won't cover. And in our lanes, I don't care if you win or lose. It's just, did we cash the ticket? And the Philly game to me is just, you can play both sides. If anyone needed a week off, it was your team. Jalen needs that extra week. You're both offensive and defensive side. You guys are nicked up. You were the talk of the town, the NFL, for most of the year, and people are starting to get off a little. And everyone's talking about the Niners. Oh, the Niners since McCaffrey. Their defense is getting healthier. But your side seems to be getting more nicked up, and there's more concern just from the public side.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think it's concern that had been valid. When we talked about this last week, when you have a healthy team for the better part of the season, when you have a team who's constantly positive in turnovers throughout the better part of the season, those are things that are just naturally going to regress to the mean, because some people, we talked about this last week, how it's kind of referred to as random almost when you're talking about injuries, when you're talking about turnover success or lack thereof. So, I would love to just explain it away that, the public just forgot how good the Eagles are, but look at what they did down the stretch against the spread, Jeffrey. I mean, they weren't covering games. They were sleepwalking to wins. I think, that game against the Giants, they did exactly what they had to do. We heading into that game said they could really likely see this Giants team again. Probably don't expend your whole playbook. Probably don't put Jalen Hurts in positions where he's going to get injured. But if you watched that game and saw plays where Jalen Hurts, would just go down or just throw the ball away, that's not happening tomorrow night. Like, Jalen Hurts is a play like there's no tomorrow kind of guy. So he is going to play like every play is his last. That's what makes him such a special player. I'm hoping that shoulder, as far as his ability to get the ball downfield, to be accurate in his throws, they're going to shoot him up with whatever they're going to shoot him up with. They're going to have him ready to go. They're going to have him well medicated and ready to be locked in for this football game. So Jalen Hurts is going to be pretty low on my concerns. My concern is, can you bottle up this run attack against Daniel Jones, against Saquon Barkley? Because that is what they need to do. If the Giants are allowed to just bleed the clock, if the Giants are allowed to just play that keep away kind of game and win the turnover battle, and it is similar to that game that the Eagles played coming off of a bye week, coming off of a week where you're almost a month of not having meaningful play or, meaningful games. I'm going back to that Monday Night Football game against the Commanders, where they lost the best record in the NFL. They lost the undefeated record, I guess is the better way to say it. But Nick Sirianni this is the show me game for Nick Sirianni, Jeff, because the Eagles have the better wide receiver core. Eagles have the better quarterback, better offensive line. There isn't one position group on both sides of the ball other than running back where you give the edge to the Giants. So this is on the Philadelphia Eagles coaching staff. I don't care if you have banged up players. I don't care if you have, players who are coming out of rust. Have your guys motivated. They're back home. The detractors of Nick Sirianni have become fewer and fewer because of what he's been able to do in his first 2 years here as head coach. But you lose a home playoff game against a divisional rival, man, you know how Philadelphia gets, Jeffrey. He might not be able to make it out of the link without some tars and feathers. So this is a show-me game for Nick Sirianni. That's the way that I look at it. Can he out-coach a pretty damn good coach in Brian Dable?
Third game of the year, divisional opponents. You guys know each other inside and out. Tough to beat a team 3 times in 1 year. And you guys, as you basically said, handled them pretty easily. Is the town, the city itself, is it more, we are super stoked, we're the number 1 seed, you're coming to our house, we will take care of business? Or because it's the Giants, because it's a divisional game, and because you're the number 1 seed and supposed to win, is it more, are you feeling that pressure? I guess that's where I'm going with this.
I think there's a pretty big split. Everybody's excited, obviously, when the Philadelphia Eagles are your number 1 seed. It's only the 5th time that it's happened in team history. So if you're not excited, I don't know what you're doing. You should be pumped up. You should be looking forward to the game. But there is this sense of, when is this other shoe going to drop with this Philadelphia Eagles team? So if it starts off ugly, probably the boo birds start raining down here a little bit. But it wasn't all that long ago in 2017 when Case Keenum and the Vikings came in following the Minnesota Miracle. They marched right down the field. You could hear a pin drop in the stadium. Eagles go 3 and out. They punt the ball back. Oh, my God, the Eagles are going to fumble this away. Patrick Robinson, interception. They never looked back. They rolled the Vikings. So the energy that will be in that stadium, Jeffrey, will be ready to turn at the turn of a hat. So whether people are a little bit trepidatious going in, whether people are overexcited turning in, the game will dictate what the fans do. And even when the fans are, the boo birds coming down a little bit, Philadelphia has shown a propensity to be able to respond to those boo birds. They hear that going down. They say, we're getting booed in our own stadium. Some teams, they might curl up into themselves. Seems like it's kind of a galvanizing thing for this Philadelphia Eagles team, because these fans, Jeff, we've known how to boo before we knew how to say mommy and daddy. So that's nothing new here. And as far as just the matchup itself goes, I'm glad that you brought up that reality that this is the 3rd time that the teams are playing, because it's almost I talked about that bar talk, that misnomer of teams being home and have it being really advantageous. Well, since the merger, I don't have the exact number in front of me, but it was something like 15-8. The team who won the first 2 meetings straight up 15-8 in that 3rd meeting. It was around that number. It was something like that. Regardless, it was an over 60% trend that favored the team who won the first 2 in the 3rd. So while it definitely is something that you think about, especially when it's a divisional foe, this Philadelphia Eagles team has just had this Giants team's number. And if you're one of the people who subscribes to, well, they're due, then the Giants certainly are due. Then you go and grab the points with the Giants right this very second, because the Eagles, since 2014 in this matchup against the Giants, 15-3 straight up, Jeff. I mean, you can't get more dominant than 15-3. However, when you look at those 18 meetings, the Eagles only would have covered this number at 7.5 4 times in those 18 meetings. So you always hear about when Baltimore and the Ravens match up, hey, it's going to be a 3-point game. People forget that this Giants-Philadelphia game is always a slobber knocker outside of what happened this season with the Eagles really rolling up on them. So, the more that I talk here more, Jeff, the more I feel like I'm going to end up somehow with a Giants +8 ticket in my pocket come Saturday. Maybe it'll be an emotional hedge, but all I'm looking for the Eagles to do cover that teaser. I took them down to a 1.5, and before this moved to 9 in the Kansas City game, I took that 8.5 and took Kansas City down to below a field goal. That's that's like the can't lose teaser, that it's who's going to screw it. I just hope it's not my Eagles who screw that one up.
It's funny you say that, because now my head's spinning saying, okay, with the number the way it's moving, do I add the third leg? In other words, Eagles to win, Kansas City to win. Now you get funny. You can take the Cowboys up to 13. You can get, believe it or not, you can get the Bengals plus 14 and a hook right now with the 9 there.
You're talking my language with those kind of teasers, Jeff.
Or you could even get real cute and take the Bills at home plus 3.5 if you wanted to go that route as well. So there's a million ways to go there. Before we dig into some tickets, some props, or wherever you are this weekend, I have to ask the question. I'm going to play Biff's Almanac. Eagles win, hard-fought game, and it's Sunday, next Sunday. I think I would have known your answer maybe a week ago, but I have to ask, if you had a choice or a preference, Dallas for the third time or bringing in the Niners, who would you want to face on next Sunday?
Honestly, Jeffrey, and it makes me sound square. It makes me sound, like, hey, are you even watching the games? I mean, I watch every single one of them. I dive in. I watch the highlights afterwards, the all 22. Like, I'm a true football junkie. And talk about the shoe dropping. Like, I know Purdy just keeps doing it, and he keeps doing it, and he keeps doing it. But I would love to see Mr. Irrelevant in the Eagles' house. I would prefer to match up against San Francisco. I don't think that's going to be the reality, though. I think Dallas goes into San Fran and wins outright. I know that that's going to be the public dog, the trendy dog, whatever you want to call it. But, man, this Dallas team, if Dak Prescott is able to keep carry the ball like he did this past week against the Buccaneers, they are just a pissed off team who everybody has told them, well, it's not going to be you. Oh, well, it's not going to be you. And this San Francisco team is the flavor of the week, rightfully so. What DeMeco Ryans does on that defensive side of the ball is stellar. What they're able to do with the personnel that they have is incredible. However, this Dallas team, whenever you have a team who just has like a chip on their shoulder and no one's really talking about them, that's what concerns me more. So a red-hot Dallas team coming into Philadelphia, knocking off all of the sharp guys' future tickets in San Francisco, or Mr. Irrelevant and Joey Bosa. I don't know. I think if I had my choice, I'd like the 49ers coming to town, but I think Dallas is pulling the outright win. So I'm probably going to have a little money line sprinkle on that one.
It's funny, before the tournament started, I was breaking down, I had Julian on Tuesday. He goes, well, we have the numbers here. And again, Philly plus 170 to win the NFC, 49ers plus 180 to win the NFC, then sat Dallas at plus 500. And that number just stuck out at me. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute here. Something smells here. And so what I did to the ECSI VIPs is I sent out the alert, because we have a future from November on San Fran. We had an August future on Buffalo, and we had one in November also on Cincinnati. But what I said to guys here is, let's add this to the portfolio. Let's get Dallas plus 500. I said, let's get Dallas plus 1,400 to win the bowl. And I said, even sprinkle a little plus 1,700 on Dak to win the MVP in the Super Bowl. Now, they take care of business in Tampa. I was waiting for the opening number. I was waiting for one of two numbers. I was waiting for that 5.5, 6.
Yeah.
Or I was waiting for that 3.5, 4. And sure enough, it was 3.5. And I'm like, it's Dallas. It's Dallas.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. And I mean, that's one of your strengths with what you do, is prognosticating these numbers. And then once the openers come, it's what we talk about in the lacrosse season all year long. Like, I line my own lacrosse games, and it's a much less, fluid market than you're having here in the NFL. But I always suggest people to do that. Take your own power rankings, take your own things, because sure, you can have the other people do the work, but your numbers, then you got nobody to blame. And Jeff's one of the best at it. It's why, Jeff, you mentioned those ECSI VIPs. Any of those who are tuning in today are tuning in with a smile on their face. Isn't it a 6-0 week for the VIPs. So, man, it pays to listen, but it pays to get that VIP access because, man, a 6-0 week, as a handicapper, man, they don't come along often. So you definitely ride them and then have the fun while you do, man. But hell of a week out of you. My bankroll paying for New York dinners here while I'm visiting a friend has greatly thanked the ECI VIP for sure.
Well, we can't thank you enough for all that you do. Let's step to the window. It's Saturday tomorrow. Obviously, you're the headliner at night, Jacksonville, Kansas City. Right now, a 9.5 with a 53. Actually, we'll use Circa. A 9 and a 53 at Circa. You are currently 7.5 with a 48 at Circa. And on Sunday, right now, the Bills 5.5 with a 49.5. And Mr. Benson was funny all week. He had a 3.5 minus 5 cents. If you wanted the 49ers, he was basically making a stance and say, hey guys, we got the best number here for the 49ers. Please come on down. No rush, and we'll open up as many lines as you want. He now overnight moved it to a 4, so he's getting some money that he wanted. But the stage is yours. What do you got cooking up your sleeve for this weekend?
Well, Jeff, we got burnt by that Joe Mixon number last week. We got in at 20.5. He ended up with 18 receiving yards. So 2 units down for me there. Absolutely brutal, but I'm going right back with another prop play from a running back. And this time I'm looking at Travis Etienne Jr. going over his receiving yard total. It's sitting at 19.5. First time that they played against Kansas City, had 3 receptions for 28 yards. There's finally some health up front for this Kansas City Chiefs team. So what are they going to do? They're going to pin their ears back. They're going to try and get pressure on Trevor Lawrence and try and force him into some turnovers. So what does that open up? It opens up the screen game. If we can get 1 screen for Travis Etienne, he breaks 1 tackle, we're live at going over this 19.5 number. So that's the first prop I have for you. And then a little 2-pack here in the Philadelphia Eagles game. We told people preseason, look out for our man, Dallas Goedert, tight end of the Philadelphia Eagles. His receiving yards total is sitting around 47.5 is what I got it up. It's up to 15.5 in some spots. I like it all the way up to 52.5 over for Dallas Goedert receiving yards. This Giants team, very poor against defending tight ends. Jalen Hurts finally coming back. What's going to be his potential security blanket? Let's get the ball to Dallas Goedert. You have Devontae Smith on the outside, A.J. Brown on the other side. There's going to be some open lanes in the middle of the field. We get a couple catches from Dallas Goedert. He's going to go over this 50.5 yards receiving total. I also like his receptions over 4.5 receptions. I think he gets some decent work here in this game as Nick Sirianni, as he's looking at the game plan. How do you attack defensively or offensively this Giants defense? Attack them across the middle of the field utilizing your tight end. Eagles have a top 3 tight end in a healthy Dallas Goedert. Like both of those over. And then the play that keeps on cashing, man. We have to play anytime the Eagles and the Giants play. The number gets worse and worse every week, but we're still going to do it. Boston Scott, running back for the Philadelphia Eagles, anytime touchdown scorer. Highest price I'm able to find out there right now is plus 380 on DraftKings. Here's the reality of it. Boston Scott, they know him in Philadelphia as the Giant Killer. He has scored 17 touchdowns in his career. 10 of them, Jeffrey, have come against the New York Giants. He has played now 13 games in his career against the Giants. He has scored a touchdown in every single one, including a 3-touchdown outing. Nick Sirianni knows this. Nick Sirianni, even in the playoffs, knows that every single Philadelphia Eagles fan who is a bettor in the crowd will have a bet on Boston Scott anytime touchdown. So it's worth a sprinkle. We cashed it back in, early December when they played in New York. This was up to plus 900. Ain't no more plus 900s out there, Jeff, but I'm still going to the window. Boston Scott over and to score anytime touchdown plus 380 at DraftKings. So some nice plus money there for the listeners on some props on Saturday action. Sunday action, I think I'm just going to leave the points at the door. I'm going to wait until Sunday to place the bet, but I think I got to go Dallas money line. Depending on how these plays do on Saturday, if I hit that Boston Scott, I have a nice plus 380 in my ticket. I'll probably do a unit play, a unit and a quarter play on Dallas money line. That plus money is going to be too good to ignore. I don't know if I have the heart to bet it against the team of destiny, but my man Joe Burrow, I think that's a barking dog in Buffalo, because think about how that first game went before the unfortunate Damar Hamlin situation. The Bengals were moving the ball. I know it was only 8 minutes into the game, but they were up. They were up on the live line as a dog. I don't know. I don't care if there's injuries up front. I don't care if there's, as long as Joe Burrow is behind the center for the Cincinnati Bengals, that team is absolutely live with the most profitable against the spread quarterback. I got to take the points with my man Joey B, but all of that's contingent how we do on Saturday, Jeff. Those are two heavy leans for me. Cincinnati plus the points, a little Dallas money line sprinkle.
And I want to be honest with you. When I had our opening number, we had 4 and 50, okay,
Yeah.
Which was kind of a neutral number. I thought for sure that number would go to 3.5. And instead it's gone to 4.5, 5, now 5.5. And we know what Joe Cool has done, what he did on the road last year in the playoffs. He beat the number 1 seed Titans. He goes to Kansas City and upsets the Chiefs. And then he was within 1/4 of winning the Super Bowl. Are you surprised which way this number is going on up to 5.5?
No, I mean, people love this Buffalo team. You know, sharps love them, public loves them. Now the great story behind Damar Hamlin, which was one of the most terrifying situations that we've seen in professional sports in either of our lifetimes. Now he's back with the team. So much juice. Does the move surprise me? No. Do I agree with the move? No. Here's the thing is with Buffalo, they live and die by the sword. You know, what makes them so special is the unpredictable nature of what Josh Allen does behind center. But what makes them so ultimately scary laying points with is the unpredictable nature that comes with Josh Allen behind center. I mean, he's a Brett Favre gunslinger, throwing the ball downfield, reckless windows that he's throwing into, takes horrible hits game after game after game. All year long, ever since they were anointed the Super Bowl champion, I've been looking for spots to fade Buffalo. Last week, I mean, they were up to like 13-point favorites. It's a 3-point game. I don't see what changes motivation-wise for them from that game to this game. You know, were they looking ahead? I don't think so. I think they're just a team that they're cardiac kids. So you're going to give me 5.5. I don't know. Maybe we do try and get, while it's not a Wong, while it's not, an advantageous teaser, maybe you do take Cincinnati up. You take Dallas up, do a little 2-team teaser for your Sunday action, protect yourself with 2 live dogs, in my opinion, that could win outright, getting yourself well over a touchdown. I like that both ways, whether it's advantage or not. Both of these teams, I think, could keep it within the spread as it stands. So I'm going to get some extra points, get one of them up to 11.5, get the other one up to 10. I don't hate that one, Jeff.
It's funny that the Bengal team, their defense has allowed 17 or less in a bazillion times.
Yeah.
They're just, and now looking at
but nobody talks about them.
Zero. Not one person they talk about the Dallas D, they talk about the 49er D, talk about the Philly D. No one talks about this Bengal D. And as I'm crunching these numbers, the scary part is always when you're playing the Bengals, can you get to 20? Can you get to 21? Maybe can you get to 23? Breaking these numbers, the Bills are sitting at a 27. Vegas has got this right now, 27-21, Buffalo. That's where they got it. So the scary part of it, we know Joe can score. We know when the pressure's on Chase, T. Higgins, Hayden Hurst, whatever it is, Joe Mixon, P. Ryan, whatever they need, they're going to get. It's almost in the back of my mind, is this the Josh Allen non-brain fart game where they just are going up and down, no turnovers, even though they don't get a touchdown, they're kicking field goals, and when they're not kicking field goals, they're getting touchdown, and they get to that 28, 30, and 31 number.
Well, if it is, Jeffrey, those Cincinnati tickets aren't going to be looking too good. I mean, that's the thing is if this team does play polished, they can boat race any team out of the stadium. I think the other part that concerns me is if the pass game isn't quite there, what do? I mean, they don't turn around and hand the ball off to Singletary. They cannot run the ball unless it's Josh Allen on a either designed run or a scramble broken play. Maybe it's a misnomer. I don't have numbers to break it up, so it's more anecdotal for me than anything. But come playoff time, you need to be able to run the football. It's just a belief that I have, whether you have a lead, whether you're trying to, ice the clock a little bit. If you can't run the football, I'm always going to be looking towards the other side, and Buffalo can't run the football, man. So I don't know. Maybe we'll have egg on my face when we're talking next week. Hopefully another Philly special, getting people ready to go for a NFC championship game in Philadelphia. But we're finishing out the season regardless when my Birds get knocked out. So you're stuck with me for at least a few more weeks, Jeffrey, until we gear up for lacrosse season.
And that was my last question. When officially does lacrosse start?
So we're going to have that championship series in the Premier Lacrosse League coming up at the mid to late February. So next month already, almost nearly a month away. It's going to be from the 22nd to the 26th. It's a sixes tournament, so it's going to be high scoring. I'm currently talking to people trying to see, will there be lines offered on it? I expect there to be. So that means we could be cashing some lacrosse tickets. 4 different teams in a sixes tournament. Typically, when we're talking about lacrosse, we're talking about field lacrosse, 11 players on the field. This is 6, including the goalie. So it's ping pong meets lacrosse. So it's ultra exciting. It's going to be a terrific thing that the PLL is putting on for the championship series coming up in the end of February. So, if there's lines, people are going to be getting them here on the Midday Market Report. That's for sure, Jeff.
Dan Alexander, follow him at Newbie Talks at Bet on Lacrosse at the Cash Consideration Show at Wager Talk at 8:30 a.m. WEEU, and of course Premier Lacrosse. Dan, always a pleasure. Listen, go enjoy NYC. I'll be listening for you tomorrow night. Let's cash some tickets, and we'll catch you next Thursday.
Yeah, just look for me. I'll be the guy in green all the way up in section 205. So you should be able to find me pretty easily up there, Jeffrey. Always a pleasure. As always, take the over here. And if you haven't already, go get that ECSI VIP. You could have went 6-0 with us. There's no guarantee he's going to go another 6-0, but you don't want to miss the next time one of the runs gets hot. So, Jeffrey, look forward to it all week. Thanks for being flexible. Glad we got the folks some actionable info. Let's go cash those Boston Scott anytime touchdown tickets. Plus 380. Let's ride.
Enjoy yourself. Behave yourself.
Thanks, brother.
Everyone, behave. Be safe. The weekend is coming, and we will see you tomorrow. Stay in your lanes. Cash a few tickets. Boston Scott plus 390. I am on that right now as we speak. See you soon.